Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right, welcome everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? This will be a fun one. One of my favorite topics in the world of health and healing is epigenetics. So for those that don't know, epigenetics is the study of actually how we can literally change our genes. One of my favorite
One
of my favorite people out there on the planet is his name is Dr. Bruce Lipton. He has wrote The Biology of Belief. Several authors are in this field. But what's fascinating is once we start to understand, all of the aspects, right? So 1% Tribe's all about one thing, understanding that health truly comes and healing truly comes from understanding your thoughts, the toxins, and the trauma. So all these three areas are the three major places where we lose our body's ability to heal. Okay. The body is the only thing that does the healing. There's no other one out there. Your innate intelligence of your body is what does the healing. So how can we make that the best we possibly can? And that is understanding thoughts, toxins, trauma. So if you've been with us before, you understand that this tonight is all about the thoughts part. We do one on the different nutritional aspects. So that would be, let's say, toxins, right? Or other things. And then we do a physical one. So last week we did some pretty good ones. If you ever are interested, we have a YouTube channel, and I'll link it to here. If you like YouTube, if you like Rumble, I really like Rumble because it puts it really in a nice order of videos for us. And then we also do the podcast. So I'm going to put that in the chat here, Julie. All right. I'm glad you're going to like it. I think it's going to be really, really fun. We're going to try to do more of a, in a sense, workshop tonight versus me lecturing the whole time. So it won't be a big piece of that. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Oh, sorry. I got another thing to show you guys too. Something Rachel and I worked on today. So Lexi, my daughter, likes, I was trying to find different things, that you might want to eat that are fermented, right? And so one of them that my kid absolutely adores, because she is definitely a Oriental type kid. She loves ramen noodles. She loves like all those dishes, soups like that. So we found that we started doing we did kimchi today. So I want to show you what that looks like because it was really, really good. We did another one as well. So you're going to see two of them. But so this is the first one in the links is the Rumble channel. So I'm up to like 57 people, pretty pumped from like 3. So I'm pretty excited. And that's all because of you guys. And then here is our YouTube channel. We'll put that in there. Whatever you guys like to do, you can do. And then our last one I'm going to put in is a podcast. So a lot of times I started this years ago as a podcast, and now I'm actually just staying with that and then going. So if you ever want to listen to old podcasts, it's on all of them, Spotify, Apple, all those, iTunes, if you just look up The Prize Inside, the chiropractor's journey, you will find it. You can see where I started back in like 2018, kind of fell off the map there. because I didn't understand the consistency I needed to do, and didn't know how I was going to do it. And now I kind of got the flow, right? And a lot of times it matters if your kids have less to do. That's been helpful too. So let me show you this first thing before we get into healing through thought. Let me get my here's the shot. Oh, cool. That worked out. Okay. You can really get on there. So hopefully you like that. That was pretty cool. That was our work last night and today. It takes a little bit, but those jars, I got these big, huge, almost like gallon jars. That will last us, oh man, all winter probably. If we really like it, it might not last that long. But I mean, you're looking at two different dishes there, kimchi and this surtudo. I gotta remember how to say that. I had it in my head. Okay. Oh, hang on. Is that a thing? Yep. Surtido dish. Okay. So let me write it in the comments so you guys can see it if you want to look it up. Tito. Okay. So for my podcast listeners, it's Curtido, and it makes a nice Spanish dish. But why do I care about fermentation? Because it has more probiotics than any supplement on the planet. Okay. So if you do this right, so we did it tonight, or we finished it up today. And we now will ferment that for roughly 2 to 3. I like going about a 3-week ferment. You can go, of course, longer than that, and it's almost to taste after that. But why fermentation? Because half of our vegetables in our lives, one of the reasons why, why everyone used to can and keep these preserves as we're going into the wintertime when all the farmers markets are full, find ways to ferment stuff, because if you can, you're going to help your gut microbiome huge. And what is the number one thing that I've been talking to you about on Whole Health Weekly every Wednesday night? What is the number one topic that pops up for the last year? It's gut microbiome health, right? And so if we start eating meat and some kind of fermented vegetable, right? If we find something we like other than sauerkraut, all we know is sauerkraut. There's kimchi. There's all kinds of different ones that are really, really good. And so if we can find the ones we like, then life changes for us in that world, right? So maybe, eating your vegetables, not only will you get the good vitamins and minerals from vegetables, but you'd also get your gut microbiome fixed, which is a lot of us need that. There's a ton out there. So with that said, let's go right into our cool topic for tonight is healing through thought. And this one is going to be a training session. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about these things, epigenetics and what it is. Okay. So we live a life where our thoughts are basically programs that run in this computer we call a brain. A lot of these programs are super helpful. Some of them are not necessarily helpful. Okay. And so what can happen is that you can run a program within your head, maybe from you learned it from others, or there's many ways that this happens. Habits over time. Okay. So with those programs that run the subconscious, right? The subconscious brain runs 95% of our, probably 90% of our day, let's say. So that means consciously, we only run our conscious brain only runs 10% of the time. That's very little amount of time that your conscious brain is running. So your subconscious, you driving to work, you going to work, you doing those things, you reading, you interacting, all of these things have subconscious programs that eventually lead you down whatever path that, like that day brings you. So here's a good example. Let's talk about it. So let's say you had a mom and a dad that hated their job. So both of them go into their job and they're absolutely miserable. This is one of the ones that Dr. Bruce Lipton uses because his dad was like this. So he talks about his dad being super not loving life in his job. So when he got home from work, he would be miserable. He'd be tired. Oh man, I was gonna call you Ryan tonight, actually. So you'd have this miserable talk, right? So we have this miserable program that's in this brain of ours. Okay. So this miserable program is sitting there and you go in on, and every day, let's say it's the job of your dreams. You went to school for 27 years and got this job. And for some reason after work, you still feel like it's the worst thing that ever happened. Well, because it's a subconscious program you literally watched your parents do. And maybe they maybe watched their parents do it. How about eating? Like what kind of subconscious? I had a friend that we talked at length about. She constantly struggled with weight. And one of the reasons she believes, after talking about the subconscious program, is that her mom, throughout her entire life, when she was little all the way up, had tried every single diet program out there. And so what she witnessed was in her life was times of major binge eating, having a great time with the food, and then overindulgence on that side, while the rest of the time starving herself to death, watching your mom do that stuff. Yeah. And so when those things happen, all of those become subconscious programs, and then you start trying to lose weight and these subconscious programs get in the way. How about somebody that's grown up with people that, let's say their back hurts all the time. Let's use that one for an example. So you have this subconscious program, you watched your parents, you do all these things. I can give you a pretty scary one that it did happen. I had a friend, he's in his mid-30s, very athletic, all those kind of things. And this one ended up being a different kind of psychological one, but I like telling the story because you can understand how the subconscious can happen and not feel bad about it. So this boy, when he was a boy, he watched his hero, his dad, have back pain all the time. He would do as much as his dad could do, but he'd have this back pain constantly. Well, this back pain led him to finally go to a doctor, where the back pain actually didn't have anything to do with the reason, or he was going to the doctor there, or the dad did. And he went in and he had never been to a doctor prior to that. So then he goes in, and then that's when the boy finds out his dad has cancer. Now, the biggest part of that is that back pain had nothing to do with the cancer necessarily. But once this boy grows up to be a man and he hears that his back starts to hurt, what do you think happens? He's going to panic, right? And it did happen. Me and him had to walk through a lot. He sprained his back. To me and you, normal, just kind of a normal chiropractic, kind of maybe take a couple visits to really feel better. but he was unusually over the top anxious about it. And so we sat down and we talked and we found this. And because we understood the subconscious program, that's all I'm going to ask of you, is to understand these subconscious programs, not to cure it, those kind of things. When he had back problems the next time, not as big a deal, right? So those are the things that I want you to think about when you're talking about epigenetics. Epigenetics are these programs that tell us what to do, how we're going to live, all these different things. Is there ways to change it? Absolutely. And tonight is what we're going to go through. So what I'd like to do is first start with, you were in school a long time, dude. I know my brother Ryan, next time we talk about this epigenetics and subconscious programs, we're going to bring him in for working out, because that's another one that all of us have a subconscious program for working out, whether it's plus or minus. I've seen minus, or a plus one too. So as we go through this, I want you to understand the different tools. Okay. It's probably the most difficult one to actually change your health. And why I say that, it's very easy to take away, toxins from your environment in essence, right? So we can start using organic soap and eating organic and doing a lot of these things without a lot of training or practice. Changing your programming on epigenetics is much, much bigger of a deal. In fact, it's not really, that's one reason I want to do this, is because there's a few techniques out there that you can do. We use in chiropractic, we can use some muscle testing aspects, but there's not a lot out there to really put you over the top. And, once you understand this, you're like, oh, that's great. What do I do about it? Right? What do I do about it? My dad hated work or whatever, right? So how do I change that subconscious program? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay. So what I want to do too is go through, and then the slides are going to be a lot about different thoughts that are linked to different physical conditions. So I want to walk through those by this author her name is Louise Hay. Years ago in the 80s, she wrote a book on like physical conditions that are actually connected to thoughts. And think of this as it's very scientific. There's no actual thing. Think about a high stress day and you get a headache. And you say, oh, it's because I had a high stress day. That makes sense to you, right? So there easily can be thought patterns that cause actual physical pain. Okay. So tonight, I want to give us a couple of those tools that really I've seen through patients that work really, really well. Okay. The first is one of my favorites, sticky notes. Okay. So what we're going to go through is how to improve every single subconscious program you're going through. Well, I'm sorry. Before we started talking about sticky notes, we have to look at all aspects of our life. Is there a subconscious program you want to change? Is there a subconscious program you want to change? Do you say, oh, every time I think of eating correctly, I get depressed. Every time I try to work out, I have issues. Every time I think of my finances, I have issues. Every time I think of relationships, I have issues. These are all different areas of health. They're not just about, whatever that issue is. Do I want you to fix the situation right then and there? No, that's not it. You just take the broad category that you're saying, all right, I have this big issue of anxiety around being around people. I'm not a people person. Okay. I want to have friends, but like around other people, I have this major anxiety, and it's because both my parents were, hermits and stuff. Right. So once you start understanding that those are things you can change, why don't we do little things to fix those situations? So let's start with an easy one. Let's say I know guaranteed that when I go into work, my work is so intense when I'm there that I get a stress headache. Okay. So let's start there. Stress headache should be the easiest one to understand throughout all these different ones that could happen. So some of the tools you can use are to use what I call like sticky notes. Okay. So sticky notes are very simple. You're going to make a mantra. I'm going to feel great today. As basic as that is, I'm going to, I would stay away from things like headache free because it kind of kicks up the subconscious saying the headache free. So maybe you say, I'm going to be pain free today. I'm going to whistle at the end of my day instead of holding my head, right? I'm going to do something different that would cause me to have a different end of the day. So the sticky note, your to do is to whistle at the end of your day. Well, if I'm whistling, I probably don't have the tension headache that came from the work that we're talking about, right? I'm gonna feel one of the ones that Ryan says, like workouts. Let's use workouts, and I don't want to work out tonight. You know, you get your head all, oh, I don't want to, and you're getting into that. How do I feel after the workout? So I would make a sticky note going, I'm gonna feel amazing after this workout tonight. Not that I'm going to do the workout. That's a to-do list. I'm going to feel amazing after the workout tonight. It's reframing it different, but it's the things you can do. One of the other ones I love to talk about is visualization. Okay. Visualization, Mike Dooley, I will constantly put him in there. Mike Dooley, called Notes from the Universe. He's written some amazing books on the art of visualization. I will give you a few little hints and pointers on it. Visualization is the ability to imagine yourself in a situation. Okay. So taking the time to be a kid again, taking the time to go back to the imaginary land where you are essentially play acting in your daydreaming. Okay. So daydream again. Right? We all did it. We all did it and had a good time doing it. Let's say, and we'll use a good visualization that you can start with. I do meditation in the morning. Well, I switch them quite a bit so that my brain doesn't get in a subconscious program, but I'll do meditation in the morning usually and visualization at night. Or I'll switch it up where visualization becomes in the morning and I meditate at night. I really like visualization at night because it kind of sets my brain up throughout the entire night of sleep so that I do attain my goals through the visualization. Visualization is nothing more than imagining yourself kind of as I want to say it's third person. It's video games have it. It's you're first person. So you're first person player in your own video game. Okay. So as you're walking through these video games, your little person is walking with just their eyes. They're seeing their environment around them. So what I want you to do in a visualization is do that. Now, what Mike Dooley likes to do is say, okay, I'm going to look at my hands before the visualization. And you see, kind of picture your hands. So make sure it's you when you start to walk through your visualization. Let's say you have a knee injury. Okay. So let's say it's a right knee injury and you're limping pretty hard and it's a struggle at work or at home. This time, what I want you to do is visualize yourself, close your eyes, get into that first person game, right? First person visualization in a nice place. So somewhere you really enjoy. Don't make it as something crazy. Let's say you're walking around your park or you're in your own yard, right? Those kind of things. You could be on your favorite beach, any of those things. So as you're walking though, through this visualization, see how it feels to walk. And then maybe if you're even more daring in your visualization imagination, start to run. Start to run. And watch how your knee improves. Like the next day, your knee will actually improve, right? That's the coolest thing of consciousness. Consciousness is real, everyone. The subconscious is what we're running everything on. Our energy field is worth everything to us. Okay. So if I can run a drone with a headband on and direct it where to go, then visualization is sending something up to the universe to say, hey, I want this life of my right knee not hurting. Okay. What happens? The cells of your body start to change. The cells of your body start to use this innate intelligence as like, hey, check. This guy wants to make his knee feel better. Right. And lo and behold, sometimes you can get this over the top, right? In more and more visualization, I know this. I know that you will heal better. I know that. You know, it's not saying you're going to cure anything, right? But can we improve 1% a day? Absolutely, we can, right? The power of the innate intelligence of your body, understanding these healing capacities that are there. Yeah, you can. Right. So we just have to understand these different processes that can be there. Right. Like Mike Dooley says, act as if it's already happened. Act as if it's already happened. Quit pretending it hasn't. The universe already's got it lined up for you somewhere. It's got it lined up for you somewhere. You have to align with that. Right. You have to align with what the universe, God, gave you. Right. And one of the things that happens is we get caught in this subconscious program that doesn't allow us to get beyond that scenario. Okay. So hopefully I'm making sense. This is like my favorite topic of all time. Part of, when we start doing, I was telling Julie actually, when we start doing our anti-inflammatory talks, we're going to have an epigenetic one. Roundtable fun class as well. I can't wait to get those lined up. I'm there. I think my subconscious program is over preparing and then not advertising afterwards. So I'm really good at that. I'll get something really well done. I got the presentation all ready to go for your anti-inflammatory, but then I'll be like, oh yeah, next week. Right. I won't give us enough time to prepare for that, but that is one of my subconscious programs I have to get better at. But anyway, so with that said, I'm going to go through a little bit of these slides. Hopefully this is making comment in the comment section if you're understanding, and hopefully I'm making sense. So what we're going to go through tonight is healing through thought. And then we've done a little bit of the training already. So we're going to use different things like sticky note, these different things. You can call it like the dream board, but the big thing is understand all these dreams have already come to pass. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to go into, I forgot to explain this. Louise Hay created a book called Heal Your Life. Let me look it up so you guys can actually find it. It is very old book, very fantastic. Let me look my history. I might not have to. This was called Heal Your Body. So Louise Hay had this book called Heal Your Body. And in there, it had different variations of different physical conditions. And these physical conditions could show up in a variety of ways, right? We have 3. Tonight is just about the thoughts. So don't think all of a sudden I'm saying, oh, Jeremy says all low back is in your head. That's the opposite of what's happening. Your head can cause physical manifestations. Absolutely it can, right? So can toxins, so can trauma, right? So we have to understand that. So this is one piece of a 3-piece one leg of a three leg stool, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go into this first one from Louise Hay's book. We're going to talk about lower back pain. Lower back pain in her book, and this is different. There's lots of different variations of the low back. I'm just giving you specifics tonight, and look how connected it is. Lower back pain could be fear of money or lack of financial support. That doesn't really matter. Okay, so as we're going through these, I want you to focus on not the part that the sick care model wants you to focus on. Okay. What would ingrain the subconscious worse? Knowing what the condition is, right? So in the book, it says lack of financial, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I'm going to say that again. Who cares? Because here's the problem. If we want it to be a healthcare and we want to be healing, wouldn't we want to get rid of the subconscious program versus beat it ad nauseum and repetitive over and over again? That's the sick care model. So let's say we find out in your low back, oh, it's your low back and it is this financial situation. Okay, cool. So let's keep talking about it until you get to a point of where you need psychological drugs for it. Does that make sense? No. What you need to do is get the subconscious to get a different paradigm shift when these things occur. Okay. So that's why Louise Hay came up with mantras or positive affirmations or positive thoughts. Okay. So here is hers for that particular condition. So low back pain. She says this would be where you'd write it on a sticky note or somewhere, remembering this process, or record yourself on your phone and listen to all those. I trust that in the process of life, all I need is always taken care of. I am safe. Okay. I trust in the process of life. All I need is always taken care of. I am safe. And here's what's crazy. It's always true. You can even count that, especially if you're a Christian or, those kind of things. Think about it as a God prayer, right? This is a very beautiful statement. If you trust in that there's a bigger, universal force other than ourselves, right? So I trust in the process of life. All I need is taken care of. I am safe. That's pretty good. So hopefully that'll be a good one. Now, let's go on to another condition. Headaches. Okay, so headaches is a pretty big one, and there's a lot of different variations on this. So remember, I have a whole sheet situation. It's very, very good. So remember, there are ways and there's deeper levels of the subconscious. I just want to give you some things that could happen, right? Headaches. Invalidating the self-criticism and fear. And here's what's going to happen. Guaranteed. This is why I keep doing this. Guaranteed everybody's going to go down that path. Why? Because we've been taught that is the subconscious program we need to run. That is the opposite. Okay? The biggest problem that we always have, and it keeps happening all the time, is that we want to worry about the situation. Okay? Invalidating. We want to stay on those words because maybe it happened in our lifetime. Biggest frustration I have, because if you want to break through to the next healing part, that's sick care, guys. That's sick care. If I say, man, my headaches are because, what did I say? I'm invalidating myself and I have a lot of self-criticism and fear. That's fine. I'm glad you know that. That's cool. What are you doing about it? That's the key, right? That's the difference between sick and being healthy in this paradigm. So here's how you fix that. Okay. You forget about all that. Okay. I got a headache. I kind of know why, right? So I'm going to keep my thoughts on this in this wonderful statement. I love and approve of myself. I see myself and what I do with eyes of love. I am safe. That's easy enough. And these are super simple. Like This is just kind of a basic boilerplate, but I want you to get the idea of taking these. If it is a thought, we don't want to bury ourselves in that same thought. That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to get away from that thought and give yourself new words when you get a headache. All of a sudden, you're getting a headache and you go, I love and approve of myself. I see myself in what I do with the eyes of love. I am safe. That's pretty powerful. Okay, here is another one. So we got some upper back pain situations, pain between the shoulders, I would say. This one, and I'll tell you what it is, but this is the last time you'll hear it. Lack of emotional support, feeling unloved, holding back love. Okay, so that's upper back pain. Kind of interesting how they're all linked to certain things, right? This one, that's the same nerve condition that your heart would be attached to, is the upper back. So that's interesting, right? So this one is the same. I love and approve of myself. Life supports and loves me. So let's say you have headaches and upper back pain. You could use either one of those pretty interchangeably and be like, man, I love and approve of myself. Life supports me and loves me. I'm going to give you, at this point, I want to tell you about a patient that I had, and she would probably come on here and talk about this because I didn't look up. Anyway, the mantra I gave her, she had plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis is terrible. It's that heel pain every time you walk. It's horrific. A lot of reasons that can happen, right? A lot of injuries. You can have a really bad sprained ankle, cause a little trauma there. You could have bad sugar, right? You could have that as your toxin. And she had neither of these. She had neither of these in any form or fashion. And so we decided to look up the emotional situation for feet. And I want to say it's been years since it's happened. Like, her story is pretty awesome. But I want to say it would be, I think it's fear of stepping forward in the future. And so we gave her the mantra, and I told her, I said, this is the key. I don't care why it's saying I'm fearing this stepping forward. The fear. I don't want you to talk about that in your own mind. But I do want you to take this sticky note, and I wrote it all down. I said, stick it somewhere where you can read it every day. Let's see what happens. And this is back when I was discovering this. And I still, to this day, don't do this well enough because I did, I get talking about other things. So this is one where if you see me in the thing, let's talk about it. So anyway, so I wrote this mantra down and I gave it to her, and she put it on her dash of her on her car. This is a lady that was getting treated for plantar fascia at least once a week for 6 months or so. It was just odd that it wasn't getting better, and it was just crazy that it was almost the same. It seemed like all these different treatments, adjusting the ankle, adjusting the low back, all of these things, were not taking it to the next level for it. So once we did that, it was wild. It was like the week of it was done. And then I was so excited about that, we just went along our business. Well, then a year goes by. I had forgotten all about that. Well, thank goodness for these. Thank goodness for her. She signed me, or she messaged me on that little Facebook thing. He goes, I still have that sticky note in my car. I was cleaning out my car, and that is the one thing I keep in that thing as long as I possibly can. Oh, let me, so Jess says, are these statements found in Louise Hay? Yes, they are. Sorry, joining later, babies. No, you're good, Jess. I'm happy to have you back. That's right. Just got baby stuff going on. I'll take you, though. Some of my big fans. Oh, man. I feel like the band is back. You guys, like the summer, it's getting a little rolling, starting getting to that fall. I love it. So yes, in Louise Hay's book, if you can buy that, it's very cheap. It's probably like $8 nowadays. There's a lot in there I, in fact, have one patient that'll ask me which vertebrae, because it even breaks down the vertebrae, like what you have going will be the mantra as well. So I have one guy, he asked me to write down the vertebrae that are out of place or misaligned, and he'll actually go do that. It's pretty wild, and it's pretty awesome at the same time. After this talk tonight, I'm going to make sure that you all have access to your, access if you get adjusted by me as well, that we can talk about those things so that, it's super simple. Doesn't it's just a beautiful thing. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. Shoulder pain. Shoulder pain is very common. Okay. And it's so funny because all of these emotions make sense. Shoulder pain is carrying the burdens of life, helpless and hopeless. Do we want to stick on helpless and hopeless? Is subconscious program? No. Helpless and hopeless. Does that mean every time you get a shoulder injury, it's because you're helpless and hopeless? No. Shoulder injuries happen. I got one from a bicep curl machine, and I felt the pop in my shoulder, and I'm like, uh-oh. That's not helpless and hopeless, but it could be an answer. Okay. So especially if we're looking at it completely holistic, we want to look at every aspect: thoughts, toxins, trauma. Okay. So in the shoulder, let's say it is that carrying the burdens of life, taking care of several little kids. That could be it. Lots of different options. For one other guy watching, starting to do girls basketball when they're very young, trying to coach your own daughter. That could be a shoulder problem. No, I'm just kidding. But here is the mantra for the shoulder issue. I choose to allow all my experiences to be joyous and loving. I choose to allow all of my experiences to be joyous and loving. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It changes your perspective pretty good, especially if you don't sit on this. I carry the burdens of life. That's what I get to hear every day, right? The subconscious program runs that. Think about how many people what happens when you ask the general population, how you doing? What happens? Oh man, my shoulder, I'm so busy and so tired. Doesn't it make sense that those are subconscious programs that we really don't want to run? Wouldn't you want to run something different? Mike Dooley, one of my favorites, is he had an uncle that he was thought of the world of, but he was from England. This is a hilarious story. I shouldn't take his thunder because it's in his book. It's so funny. So he was just starting to get in the dating scene. And, like he was like, all right, how do I interact with a girl? All these things. Well, his uncle or friend was from England, and he loved the English accent. So all of a sudden he decided at this date that he would try to take on an English accent. And it didn't go over well. He didn't get to date the girl because it wasn't him. It wasn't authentic, but he remembers running this program like, well, he's so nice. He's good. The subconscious is telling me my uncle probably gets a lot of women. So maybe I'll use this English accent. It didn't work. Right. So, it's just one of those things, like, just remember that you have options. Okay. So remember shoulder pain for my podcasters again. This is from Louise Hay's book. I choose to allow all my experiences to be joyous and loving. Let's do hand pain. I don't know why I put this one in here. Couldn't be one of our regular listeners, but here we go. So this is what it means. Hold and handle, clutch and grip, grasping and letting go, caressing, pinching, all ways of dealing with experiences. Think about that. That's what it means. Hand pain. Hold and handle, clutch and grip, grasping, letting go, caressing, pinching, all of ways of dealing with different experiences of life. So here is the mantra. I choose to handle all of my experiences with love and with joy and with ease. I choose to handle all of my experiences with love and with joy and with ease. That one's a tough one. That's a tough one because I'm choosing a different subconscious program. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That's a good one. I choose to handle all of my experiences with love and with joy and with ease. All right, here's foot. Oh yeah, I did find the foot one. Okay, so this is the one I used on this plantar fascia. It was fantastic. So this one is foot pain, and the sick care where we want to, where our sick care model would want us to focus, would be fear of the future and of not stepping forward in life. But our mantra, we're going to forget about what that said. Fear of the future and of not stepping forward in life. That is the sick care stuff that they want to beat on your head with. This is what we're going to focus on. I understand clearly, and I am willing to change with the times. I am safe. I understand clearly, and I am willing to change with the times. I am safe. Here's another one: hip pain. Fear. This is the sick care part. Fear of going forward in major decisions. Nothing to move forward to. So those are two different things, right? So when you're looking at it, fear of going forward in major decisions, or nothing to move forward to, gets us some hip pain as well. So how would we do our positive mindset? I am in perfect balance. I move forward in life with ease and with joy at every age. Think about that one. I think this is be my last. Nope, I got knee pain left. When does our knee pain hurt? Or I'm sorry, our hip pain. Many times when we're retired and older, right? This hip starts to hurts more and more often. Why does it start to hurt? Maybe kids have moved on, into their different houses. You're in this retirement mode. You don't know what's going to be the next step. What do I got to look forward to? If there's no step to take, maybe your hip starts having that happen, right? So some of these will make a lot of sense, and almost instantly, once you start doing the mantra, you're going to notice something different if that is the reason it's happening, right? Because it's not the only one. Thoughts, toxins, trauma, but all three. Okay. So remember this one, hip pain once again. I am in perfect balance. I move forward in life with ease and with joy at every age. Okay. Now let's go into knee pain. Okay. Knee pain is the sick care part would be stubborn ego and pride, inability to bend, fear, inflexibility, won't give in, right? A little bit of that action, right? Stubborn ego and pride, inability to bend, fear, inflexibility, won't give in. So here's the mantra, or whatever you want to call it, positive thought. Forgiveness, understanding, compassion. I bend and flow with ease, and all is well. Forgiveness, understanding, compassion. I bend and flow with ease, and all is well. All right. I think, yeah. So that's it for tonight, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed it. But let's talk about this. Remember, use the sticky note analogy. Find out what these are. You can Google Louise Hay's book. It is fantastic. What did I call it? It's Heal Your Body. It's as simple as that. Very old book. You can find those. I have copies as well of different mantras. There's several other authors out there that are in this area as well. If you want to find a more detailed definition, there's a training that I will probably do at some point in my life. It's called Psyche, that will add to the muscle testing aspect. There's a lot of options for this. It's just kind of getting started, but once you understand, I can't say that. It's not probably just getting started. It's been around for a long time. We just hadn't known how to approach it, right? Because we're so integrated with the sick care model. We just can't believe that this kind of thing could fix it. And that's the hard part. Convincing people that there is an option is going to be the most difficult. So if any of those visualization, sticky note, any of those kind of things fits you, record it. Do it. Put it in your car. Put it on your mirror in your bedroom, or in your bathroom or bedroom, maybe at your desk at work. Any of those things. Read that mantra. Read it well. It'll change your life. It really, really will. And make sure that we understand when we start looking at all this stuff that we're going to make it a part of our health journey. We got to quit being afraid of these things that happened in our past, right? We got to be, it's back there for a reason. But if we don't understand why they happen, it's okay to understand it. Just don't live in it. The only way to change the subconscious, you don't go back and try. You don't go take a golf. Let's say we're golfing and you say, here's a club and I'm 8 years old and I learned a bad golf swing. The new pro, when I'm 25 and I'm just starting to golf again, we don't go, okay, let's go back to your 8th grade or 8-year-old golf swing and just talk about that. Let's just keep talking about this 8-year-old golf swing. Don't we try to subconsciously fix that? Isn't that the idea? In our society now, it is like, let's go back to the 8-year-old golf swing and just keep talking about it until something magically changes that you go, man, yes, you're right. My 8-year-old golf swing didn't work out so well. And that's what we do. We have to learn. Just like anything physical, to learn to change it, the only way to do that is through really good, dedicated work. Really good, dedicated work will get it done. And this is kind of fun if you get in the visualization. I promise you that. Learn to visualize. It's my favorite one. You just get to dream this new dream, and it brings you back to being a kid. So with that said, Jessica says it. I'll leave it with this. She says, heal, not health. I agree. It's healing. It's not health. We got to get out of this sick care model, folks. It's not leading. It's good for what it does. When you're sick, we got an option, right? But we want to take that healing to another level. We want to take this human body to this new level. Like, I can't wait to do, I'm going to reach out because I have this lady that is fantastic at the human biofield. I think she could be amazing, but I got to find out if she'll actually do something like this. Like an interview like this. I would love to see it. So we shall see. We shall see if she would do it. With that said, I am going to let you guys go. I hope you guys appreciated this. We're going to talk about it again. I'll probably bring Ryan on, baby, for working out one. It's almost that time of getting winter. With that said, you guys, you enjoy the rest of your night. And thanks for joining. Have a great one.